Making friends with my own mind. If thought is the root of suffering and I can't escape thought, does that mean I'm always destined to suffer? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do I embrace the suffering as a part of my life? Does striving to eliminate my own suffering become the source of my suffering? Do I keep looking for ways to quiet my mind? Or do I learn to make friends with the way my mind has become wired? Do I learn to eliminate thought entirely? Or do I learn methods to allow me to become identified with thought in order to embrace the way my mind works without causing the same degree of suffering that it has caused me in the past? Do I see my active mind as a blessing or a curse? If seeing it as a curse causes suffering itself. So many questions. I can continue to go in circles, or I can embrace it as a fundamental part of me. And instead of trying to escape it, leverage it in my own favor. Allow it to be, as it has become one of the defining factors in creating the person that sits here today. I like this person. I would love to sit around a campfire with myself and talk about the meaning of life and the concepts of the great philosophers turned into schools of thought. But why aren't I doing that yet? If I just embrace myself as I am right now, each day and every moment could become that campfire moment. Time to learn to make friends with myself, with all of my flaws, because in trying to change myself, I'm losing out on the opportunity to have a friend that never leaves me. Time to embrace myself as I am. By not doing so, I'm saying no to the best friend I could ever have, which is my own mind. So, lots of, I don't know, big steps in how just over the past few weeks of journaling about what goes through my mind, I'm actually learning to understand it so much better than I had before. Before, I just kept everything within my own mind, which frankly just became a big mess. And without having some sort of visual representation, but then also a way to unravel those thoughts into writing, I've learned to understand myself a bit more. And the more I seem to do it, the more I seem to come to the conclusion that if we break everything down that's within our own minds, we are essentially all looking for the same thing. We are all looking to, let's say, fit in, to feel loved, to feel a sense of community. And it seems that the lifestyle that is enforced upon us by society in the way that we currently live, so disconnected. We are told that the first thing that you should do when you finish school is get a job, move out of the house, start your own life, which I am coming to realize that is what is creating this individual culture that is, for me anyway, had become the root of my suffering. The sense of loneliness that I can never seem to escape. And I've noticed if you break down things like philosophy, things like even diet, and instead of trying to even look back at what is in the literature, the time that that literature was created was in the societies where individualization was already so pronounced. In order to actually go back to how humans had lived for thousands upon thousands of years. And if we look at all the different cultures around the world, they essentially lived a very similar lifestyle, a lifestyle based in community where small tribes and small families, there was so much human connection from birth until death. And in the society that we live in, it's almost pushing us away from that sense of community that I find that if I had that in my life, many of the struggles and suffering that I'm feeling, most of what stems from loneliness, would most likely have been satisfied in those ancient times. Same thing when we look to something like diet, for example. There's so much information out there, there's so many professionals telling us to eat a certain diet, to do so many big things to improve our health, where if we just look to thousands of years ago, before there was the establishment of the modern Western cultures that we have seen advance to where they are today, everything was just about doing and making the most of what was in our immediate environment. And for example, with my diet that I'm eating at the moment, is I've gone completely back to tried my best. It's quite hard unless you are spending a lot of time in the kitchen each day to eat a whole food diet of things that come straight out of nature in the form that I'm consuming them. And just by changing my diet, for example, to one that would have been the same diet that we lived and consumed for thousands of years, I'm feeling so much more energized than I ever had before. And the more I start to do my own thing and be true to what I feel is my nature, once I've stripped back many of the concepts that have created my sense of self, I am able to, well, oh yeah, that's where I was. I completely forgot where I was there. But it's made me realize what a kind of sick society that we live in, or toxic society that is one of the biggest contributing factors, in my opinion, to pretty much the root of all illness and disease. Because a lot of the times I felt for myself anyway, is anything that has happened in my own health negatively is all because of the stress that I've put on my mind and body for so many years. And I know we can't escape it, but I can do my best at changing myself and hopefully being able to somewhat influence my immediate environment to be able to make it more like it would have been back in those ancient times when we had connection, where we had community, and most likely a lot less mental illnesses, for example. And I found like the roots of my depression stemmed from my loneliness, which could have maybe been negated in a very close community. So yeah, just lots of big thoughts, a lot of thoughts about life, and I'm gonna keep doing this because as much as I feel like maybe philosophy is actually more rooted in having to create schools of thought to help us deal with modern society, I am we can't escape it, and that's all I can actually try to do right now until I maybe figure out a better way to live for myself, to feel more satisfied and fulfilled in my daily life. So I know that might have become a bit confusing. I went on a lot of tangents there, but I'm just here unpacking my own mind and what I've come to think about the world. So thanks for watching, and see you again tomorrow.